COVID vaccine. Child who is vaccine injured, I am passionately in favor of medical freedom. The reason I'm addressing this issue is because we can see the potential for vaccine mandates on the horizon. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to medical decisions. I'm guessing that most of the parents here would agree with me that they know their child and their medical history better than anyone else. The government doesn't know my child, the school board doesn't know my child, and even our medical doctor, who we see very infrequently, does not know the details of my child's health as well as I do as their parent. Where there is a risk, there absolutely must be a choice. There has never been a vaccine or pharmaceutical drug that does not come without potential side effects. I am not anti-vaccination. However, each parent needs to weigh the risk to reward of any medical treatment and decide what is best for their child's individual health considerations. If people choose to get the vaccine, that's great for them. However, I don't believe our schools or our government should be forcing others to take a medical treatment against their will. According to MDH statistics, there were 0 COVID deaths among children in Minnesota from the ages of 10 to 19. Among children from the ages of 0 to 9, there were 3. No life is insignificant. However, you have to ask yourselves, when kids have a 99.99 to 100% survival rate of COVID, why is there a need to push this vaccine on them when it doesn't prevent infection or the spread of the virus? This information also needs to remain private. It is no one's business whether some kids get vaccinated or some don't. Singling kids out with masks or different quarantine protocols because they aren't vaccinated can lead to bullying. Kids are smart and they can easily figure this out. My daughter was an 8th grader at the middle school last year. The day that the vaccines opened up for 14 to 17-year-olds, my daughter was sent a Snapchat message from a so-called friend that said, "You'd better get effing vaccinated." That's the censored version. Kids will absolutely use this against each other, leading to bullying and a greater mental health strain on our children. Different protocols for vaccinated kids versus unvaccinated will only further divide the student body and create unfair moral pressure. My ask to you is this, that you remember this when the pressure comes to divide our kids more with forced vaccinations and continue to allow parents to make the decisions for our children. I ask that you continue to honor religious and conscientious exemptions. Final thoughts. What is right for your kids may not be right for mine. What's right for my kids may not be right for yours. But what's not right for either of us is being stripped of the freedom to choose what is right for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Next, I invite Dwayne Judge up to the podium. Dwayne wants to speak about discouraging the sexualization of our children. Hi, Dwayne.
Hi. I'm going to cut right to the chase for sake of time. So continuing from last month, here are action items for the board. Consistency. We want what's taught in the classroom about Y chromosomes to also be what's promoted in the hallway. We cannot lie to our children and expect good results. We want to protect the privacy of our children. We want to convert all community bathrooms and locker rooms into single-stall unisex units. And we want to respect teachers' freedom of speech. The Virginia Supreme Court just ruled in favor of a Loudoun County teacher who used gender terms consistent with biological sex. No teacher should be forced to use gender pronouns based on a student's desire. And furthermore, use of preferred pronouns and official correspondence should not be allowed, as this is inconsistent with those lessons being taught in science. Things a child might say when they're struggling with who they are. I don't think I was made the right way. I need to fix it. My body doesn't look the way I want it to. I wish people saw me differently. People don't like me because of how I look. Indeed, these are things you might hear from a youth struggling with anorexia. Coincidentally, it's also what you might hear from a youth struggling with gender dysphoria. The difference between the two isn't the wellness of the child. They are both in need of help and crying out for it. The difference is how adults are reacting to it. We rightly address eating disorders with proper counseling and treatment of the underlying mental illness. We reaffirm the person and help them get on a path to stronger mental health and survivability. We certainly do not discourage them to just be who they are and to continue abstaining from food. So why is this any different with gender dysphoria? The VA and Williams Institute at UCLA have conducted studies spanning several decades which show that people with gender dysphoria have suicide ideations and suicide rates as much as 20 times higher than the general population. These rates remain fairly consistent regardless of whether the person has transitioned to the opposite sex or whether they live in a country where their lifestyle is widely accepted. Not only are they dying at higher rates because of suicide, their mortality rate is 3 times higher for transgender people based or compared to the general population. They're also dying from other ailments like cardiovascular disease and HIV at much higher rates, according to a study out of Amsterdam UMC. Don't get me wrong, I believe adults should be free to live how they wish, but I do not believe that we should be pushing our children along this path, especially during such a critical time of cognitive development. Through discussions of gender identity in the 10th grade sex ed class and by celebrating gender dysphoria, we are encouraging and sometimes even pushing these youth to a life of mental anguish, when instead we should be affirming them of who they really are and how they are best equipped for this world. Pushing children towards mental instability will not go unchecked. We will all be held accountable for how we raise our children. It doesn't matter what mandates come from the federal or state government. We know what's right, and we will be held to account for that. Much like the German soldiers were held accountable for their actions at Auschwitz, even though Hitler had passed down orders from high, those soldiers were held accountable for violating basic human rights. We're harming these children in this life or the next. We will have to answer for that.
Thank you, Dwayne. Okay, next, I want to invite John Dvorak to the podium.
Hi, my name is John Dvorak. I have 4 kids, 3 of which are in the Jordan School District. My wife and I are also alumni. My speech tonight's going to be short, and I guess like my wife said, it covers a pretty broad topic. I say this with all due respect. The Jordan School District is now on notice. The past 2 years have been an adjustment for all. As a society, we have watched the lines get blurred between governing, parenting, and teaching. We, as parents, can no longer sit back and watch as we see an educational shift away from what was a formally respected curriculum and school policies. So with that being said, we look forward to seeing you at upcoming meetings where we can continue to have respectful dialogue and constructive conflict as adults. We need to be a vision of good for our children and not try to be the next Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter sensation because we wrecked our school board meeting. We elected you to the school board because we believe that you wanted the same things that we want. We need you to be the voice of the parents now. We're asking the school board to be forthcoming and transparent. No hidden agendas, no hidden curriculums, and no partial political opinions or views pushed onto our children. Let's get back to the basics. Leave parenting to parents and leave teaching to teachers. Respectfully, we need you to leave the political views and alternative lifestyles out of the conversation, especially out of the classrooms. These are the topics that are sensitive to each individual family morals and the beliefs they need to be left at home, period. Again, we're asking for complete transparency between the District of 717 and the parents. Thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank our community for being here. We do appreciate and we welcome your input, and we want to partner with you and team with you when we are here together, all for the good of our kids. So thank you. The next item we have are our consent agenda items. We have minutes from our last August, 2 August meetings, our August monthly financial reports. For donations, we have some substantial donations. We have $200 for Run Walk of the Mill from Cywick Lumber, $200 Hometown Bank, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 from Franson Bank, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 from Clancy's Bar and Pizza, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 from Albright Masonry Insurance, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 Quatman, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 Riverland Bank, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 Penny Family Chiropractic, Run Walk of the Mill, $200 from Rademacher Foods for Run Walk of the Mill, $45 from Mighty Cause for Food Shelf, $130 from Tina Wierke, chair, a laminator from Kelly Razor for staff use, backpacks supplies from Hosanna Church for the elementary school, and $4,937.33 for Food for Friends from the Harley Heaven Memorial. So we thank those people for very generous donations. We have a new hire. We have a long-term sub-kindergarten teacher, Jennifer Menden, at a BA Step 1. A new hire, long-term sub, special ed teacher Amanda Omas, BA 1, Step 1. New hire, high school special ed paraprofessional Emma Lafrenzen from Schedule A, Grade 2, Step 3. A new hire, elementary school special ed paraprofessional Elizabeth Wacker, Schedule A, Grade 2, Step 2. New hire, elementary school wind room paraprofessional Mitchell Martin, Schedule A, Grade 2, Step 7. New hire, elementary school playground supervisor paraprofessional Sarah Mullenhoff. She comes in at a Schedule A, Grade 1, Step 4. A new hire, elementary school long-term sub special ed paraprofessional Caitlin Brown at a Schedule A, Grade 1, Step 1. We have the resignation of high school technology assistant Brian Stewart. And declaration of surplus items, we have an ELS furniture, 4 couches that are being declared surplus. So I will entertain a motion to approve consent.
Motion to approve consent.
Lauren, is there a second?
Second.
A second, Molly. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion, 7.1, discussion on student school board representative. Superintendent Evenson and myself had talked about this. We do currently have a school board, a student school board rep, and it's been very challenging because of COVID. We started this program, what was it, Sandy, about 3-4 years ago?
3, because we had Tony and then.
Tony, no, we had somebody before.
We had Autumn and Tony.
Autumn,
Autumn and Tony. Autumn
Tony.
did it 1 year, and then Tony, I think, was it 1 year or 2 years?
She was over as, like, I think she did like January to December.
it's always, the timing is always
Yeah,
so
it's-
awkward because the school year doesn't, if they graduate, it doesn't coincide with our year.
Yeah.
So I want to just have an open discussion at the board table and see what your thoughts are, if we want to pursue having Principal Visner look for another student rep. I'm just going to open it up for discussion and thoughts.
I really like the idea, and every time we go to the MSBA meetings, you know, they have one school that has a student rep, and it works out well, but for some reason, we seem to struggle with getting somebody who can attend all of the meetings and who can participate. So I really want to do it, but it's, how do you have just one and make sure that they can attend the meetings?
Mm-hmm.
And it fits into their schedule.
Pardon?
What are the expectations?
It's been in the past that they're expected to attend the regular meetings, not necessarily the workshops, but the regular
Okay.
meetings. And for each regular meeting, if they're not able to make it, because most of the time, these are the kids that are in show choir and football and sporting activities and other activities, but they're expected to give a report from each of what's going on in each of the buildings.
Okay.
So they're kind of the liaison between the students and the school board.
That's why I think it's important to have one.
I think that's beneficial to hear it from the viewpoint of the students too, you
Mhm.
know?
But I also think that, like, Lauren, when you were talking about, like, the different school districts that we see, oftentimes those might be, like, the larger school districts, who, like, our school district, one of the things that is great about our school district is everybody can be involved in so many different things, and oftentimes they are. So, and the kids that this, I think, would attract, like Deb was saying, they're in everything, and so it's really, really hard for them to make it. I think one of the expectations we also had was that we would have, they would serve on at least one committee,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and usually it was the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Curriculum committee, so we could get their input.
and that's,
Correct.
you know, so then that's 3 Mondays a month, because it's always on a Monday.
Mhm.
So that, I think that makes it challenging too. I love the idea of doing it. I think it's a great idea.
Do you mean 3 Mondays a year, right? Not 3 Mondays a month?
Oh, well, two, because we don't expect the workshop.
Gotcha, okay, I'm sorry.
Because curriculum is on a Monday as well.
Right, but it's
So-
3 times a year, right, or is it 4 times a year?
Oh, curriculum.
Oh, actually,
during-
every month.
Yeah, it's
every
Never
month.
mind. I was
Until,
thinking- I was
it's
thinking it was
October
quarterly.
through April, it's every month.
Yep, okay, so
So
that
we
is
don't
2
meet in the
meetings a
summer.
month.
Yeah.
You know, when we initially wrote the policy and did this, didn't we toss around the idea of having two of them share the
We did.
position?
We did. But I think we struggled getting one, was the issue, so, yeah, I don't know, that's.
Connie?
I think I valued their written reports, so if it would be possible that somehow we could tie in with literature, or the leadership group, and I don't know how that, I don't have a vision of how that could work, but the written report from the students, they talked at different lengths about what they would like for us to be involved in. If that, and I don't know who this leadership, I think it's just the principal of the building. So that was really helpful too.
Thank you. I will say that Tommy, she was
Did a really
pretty
good job.
faithful. She did
Yeah.
a really, really good
And
job.
she was involved in a lot.
She was, yes, and she was very involved in school. And then the board did give her a scholarship. And then COVID happened. You know, so that, it's been very unfortunate for Olivia because, you know, she hasn't had an opportunity really because we haven't, you know, met in person that much. So what's the consensus? This is not an action item. It's just discussion. Do you want me to have Superintendent Evenson have Jeff Bisner pursue finding a candidate or two candidates?
I think you should. I'm in favor of it.
I am.
I think,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, I think it can vary year to year, because like, activities may vary year to year. Like, somebody may be like, oh, yeah, I could do that.
I
You
agree,
know.
I think we should pursue
Yeah.
it.
So what are your-
But I guess my question is would we want to pursue two, or would we want to pursue
Yeah,
one?
that's
my
question.
I think we should pursue two.
Do they have to be seniors? Or could it be like a junior and a senior, and then maybe you have the rollover the next year?
We
That
had
was what
talked
our
about-
initial plan was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, it was.
but we couldn't find anybody to do it, so.
Let's open it up and see what we
Yeah.
can get to.
Are you okay with that? Absolutely. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Good discussion, thank you. Okay, so we'll continue that. So then, let's see, we would try to have them start as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Orient them and,
Question, with the two though, then they would not be eligible for the MSBA scholarship, correct? Because it has to be, they have to serve the whole year, or how does that work?
well, I would say the graduating senior would be eligible to apply for the scholarship.
Okay.
So the junior could either choose to stay on a second year and move into that position, or if it wasn't his or her thing, then we would replace that person.
Do they have to be on for a full calendar year, or is it a full school year? That's my question, I guess.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. You mean to
To get
qualify for the scholarship?
Yep, exactly.
I don't know that that's a stipulation, but that's a good
I
question.
couldn't remember, I thought there was some discussion around that when we had
Yeah.
this years ago, but that was a long time ago.
Okay, I can check into that. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, the next item is review and act on the 2021 payable 2022 levy certification. Ms. Hafman.
Good evening. So every year, the MDE, they open up their levy system in August, and I go in and enter our actual numbers, and by September 30th, the board has to approve the preliminary levy. So what that means is I go in and enter our health benefits, which is our OPEB benefits that we levy for, pupil transportation, elementary sparsity, secondary sparsity, building and land lease agreements, and our actual costs and debt service, and then our general community service. So the preliminary report comes out in early September, and it came out last week, and it's already been updated as I emailed all of you. So for this year, for the 2021 payable 2022 levy, which will be for fiscal year 2023, there's an overall, we show an overall increase in the general fund of 8.34% in the general fund, and 6.21% in the community service fund, and a decrease in the debt service fund of 5.34%, for an overall increase of 0.62%, which is very minimal for our district at a very minimal cost. So it is my recommendation that the board approve the maximum levy authority, and then this will get submitted to our county auditor, and the final levy will be approved in December.
So typically the board always levies to the max.
Yep.
So that if there's changes between now and December is when we do the final, we have the hearing and we have the final levy. So it gives us some leeway. So do you
Mhm.
want to speak more
Yep.
to that, Superintendent? Okay. Any questions?
And this number could change between now and December. That is why we do it. But it's not going to change a lot, I don't believe. They've already run 3 reports since last week.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion from Lauren. Is there a second?
N-
Second, Connie. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, sounds good. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Amy. Okay, review and act on the 21-22 snowplow contract. Tim?
Good evening. So every year after we're done snow plowing, I meet with the snowplow contractor, talk about how things go. This year he approached us on keeping the rates the exact same. If we would renew with him, we placed a call to our auditor and they thought that was, there's not a problem with doing that. So I'm looking to do a 2-year contract with them, no increase on snow plowing. We will look at the 22, not this year, but next year, we'll look at salt costs, just in case something would happen where that would really get out of whack. We will then work with them to, figure that out. But other than that, I'm just looking to renew a contract with Jeremy Henches for 2 years, same amount.
And you've been happy?
Yeah,
with-
he's
with
done a
this?
good job for us.
Okay, good. Any questions for Tim? Or questions on the contract? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Molly, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sarah. Questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Review and act on the 21-22 communication plan. I believe the communication committee met. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Evenson and the committee members.
Absolutely. So good evening, Chair Polly, members of the board, members of our community and staff that are able to join us. This evening, each year in Jordan Public School District, the school board is really intentional with making sure that they've mapped out important communications that will happen and interactions throughout the school year. The communications committee meets annually and reviews and makes any adjustments that they need to, mapping out specific communications that they might have with EMJ, with our staff in the buildings, specific events that are important for board members to attend. The communication plan is as presented, and I will turn it over to board member Sandy Burke for anything that I might have missed.
I don't think, all we did, basically, the plan remains virtually the same except with the exception of dates. So we put in meet and confer, we put in graduation. I think we left staff breakfasts open just because we weren't quite sure when those might be. They might change. I'm trying to think. We did, let's see.
Can I interrupt, Sandy?
absolutely.
By staff breakfast, is that what we used to do? Is that what?
No, I'm sorry, no, not the meet and greets.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm talking about
I
like at
didn't
the
think so.
beginning of the year and the end of the year.
Gotcha.
So, sorry, that was a good question. That was not clear. I know we talked about, the purpose of the communications committee, and we'll probably revisit that at a later date. So, but other than that, I think that's, and we also put in, I know, Renee, you put in about like when administrative team will be present at board meetings.
That's a good point. So I've had lots of questions from board members as well and from admin. So just for clarity, because the communication plan is pretty clear about when administrators should attend the board meetings, if there's an action item or discussion item that they might be presenting, as well as if there's some, topic that comes up that might be important for them to be at. So that being said, we added a couple sentences of clarity that just outline when they should attend. The other thing we added for board members as well is a piece of clarity on how to reach out with questions on the board reports, because they are, typically shared with board members, and so we'd ask that you email whoever typed that report and copy the superintendent on any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the communication plan?
And also thank you to Lauren. Lauren's on that committee too. And I think it was just the three of us, and Elise, our communications director. So thank you for your time for that.
Okay, Lauren, do you have
You
anything?
both recapped it beautifully, so
Okay.
I don't need to say anything.
Okay. Okey-doke. Then I will entertain a motion to approve our 21-22 communication plan as presented by the committee.
Motion to approve.
Lauren moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Sarah. Okay, any further comments, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, boy, we're buzzing along here. This could be a record. Well, no. Superintendent report?
Absolutely. So I have a few things I just wanted to touch on this evening. Oh, is there a question?
No.
Oh, okay. And, you know, first of all, we're back to school. We're thrilled to have the students and staff back. Just want to thank them, do a shout out for their partnership as we prepared for our students and our families this year. If any of you were able to attend the open house events, they were incredible. They felt like a celebration. Just such positive interaction. We had some buildings that nearly had 100% participation, and that was just exceptional. So thank you to all those families that made their way out to the open houses and engaged with staff and brought their students, and we're just really thrilled to be back in school. First couple of weeks have gone smoothly. I know that we've had to send some signs and symptoms updates just as, you know, for families in case there were potential exposures, so I know that those have happened. But we are working really hard to make sure that we have the cleanest facilities and making sure that we have a safe learning environment for our kids. So we're just really thrilled to be back in school. I also included a Department of Education update. Almost annually, the Department of Ed just updates when they'll be looking at different standards and modifications to that. So I've included the timelines that we have. That doesn't mean that it will stay that way. They seem to add years onto them every year. So, but that's just there for your reference. I want to talk a little bit about Hymetfest. Had the best weekend last weekend, and it was my first fully engaged Hymetfest in a really long time, so that was amazing. Friday night was super fun, and on Saturday was really busy. So we had the Run of the Mill and the Family Fun Run that were happening. I was able to get down there for that. And we walked in the parade, which was really great to interact with kids and families, and also got to volunteer with the commercial club and serve some of the best burgers I've had in a really long time. So it was just a really great community celebration, and I just think we're really fortunate to be able to partner with our community in that way. I wanted to put a little note there about the Jordan Education Foundation. Every month that group meets and discusses really how they can best support our staff and our students in our school district. The mission of this organization is to engage the community to enhance the education of ISD717 students and staff through grants and 3 foundation scholarships for our high school graduates. Parallel to other excellent organizations that we have the Booster Club, we've got the Dollars for Scholars. There are so many organizations that really strive to support our students and staff. They're a great, really a great group that supports the unique needs of our school community. Last year, one example, they provided some really great microphones for students in our middle school. I think that's important to note. And the reason I bring this all up is because I know that JEF is holding a Give Like Jiv event. Jiv Pauley is the founder, really, of that foundation and made that possible. And so I just want to make everyone aware that the Give Like Jiv event is September 17th at our Hubman football game. And I just think it's really important, and we should celebrate when community members get involved in that way. So I wanted to make that note. And then the last thing that I really want to just touch on, and it's not a part of my board report, but I think it's important to just take a moment and note. I mean, this last weekend, we had the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And honestly, there are so many heroes that day and really in the days following. And, living and being here in Jordan, we had an event last week where we had a little scare. We had all the fire trucks at the middle school because we had a sensor that was bad. And I don't live too far away, so I was able to scoot up to the school, probably not what they want me to do, but I did. And the volume of our first responders that were here and working so hard, they were so incredibly kind. I just think it's important that we just take a minute just to say thank you. We have so many great police officers, fire and rescue, all of those people that really keep our community safe. And just with everything, you know, being commemorated, it really stood out to me. So I just wanted to say I'm appreciative of their work, and it means a ton to the school district. So that's what I'd close my report with.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Stevenson?
I do have a question. When you were talking about the COVID and the signs and symptoms,
Yes.
can you tell the difference of like when a letter is sent and when it is not? Because if you get like you have a risk exposure or you have a low risk, is it like people in your classroom? Because
Yes.
we've had letters sent, but it's like my kids are like, I don't notice anybody gone, so I don't. Not quite sure when they're sent.
Yeah, and so I guess the best way I could say that is if a student that was positive was in a class with a student, we give that family a heads up. So,
Regular risk and low risk, like with the letters. Do you know the difference, or is it just kind of like they're just sending out?
it's just regular risk. This
Okay.
year it's different than it was in the previous, where we did some really specific
Yeah.
contact tracing and knew that somebody was within 6 feet of somebody for more than 15 minutes.
Because the letters do say both.
So I do have Chad here. If
Yeah.
it's okay, I'd bring him up to answer that so that I don't mistake that. And Chad's probably like, thanks, Mrs. Evenson.
Sorry, Chad.
Welcome.
Yes, I just want to know the difference.
Sorry,
like
Mr.
if I'm getting a
Williams.
risk exposure letter or a low risk
You
exposure
know, that
letter.
that could have been when actually that could have been one of our errors.
Okay.
Because it shouldn't say both; it should just say one thing.
Okay.
So that I appreciate you informing me that,
Okay.
because usually when we find out because of all the letters that we send out, you know, usually parents are great at asking that or sharing that question with me, and it's like, okay, yep, we need to change that. So
So I'm hearing typo.
that is a typo. So it should say one thing, because right now it's just a low risk at
Okay.
that time, because we are not doing close contact
The
tracing.
contact
So
tracing.
when a student is, positive in a classroom or space, we want to just inform families just to be aware of those signs and symptoms,
Yeah.
to monitor signs and symptoms, and make the decision on making sure that you keep your student home when they are showing those symptoms.
Perfect. Thank you.
So thank you for letting me know about that.
We'll
No
take a
problem.
look. Thank you, Molly.
Thanks,
I do
Chad.
have a question too, since, about COVID. I just want to, I want to understand our cleaning protocols. Are we using the same type of cleaning protocols that we did last year, where we have all of everything sanitized when the kids leave every single day?
Yes, we are following the same protocols as we did last year, because we feel that's very important to keep our spaces clean. So we are continuing to follow the same process as we did last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Superintendent Evenson, did you want to touch a little bit on the enrollment numbers at all, or just leave it at
They're as presented.
as presented?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay. Okay, then we have the other reports that you all had plenty of time to read, so I'm not going to go through each one of them. When we go around and do our individual board reports, if you have something from one of the administrators' board reports that you want to share or ask a question about, that would be a good time to do it. If you had a question, you should have contacted them before, but if you want to make a comment about something great or something in your report, that would be good.
Can I
Okay,
interject?
yes.
Is that rude?
Sure.
Because it's brand new in the communication plan. So the one thing we didn't want to miss out on is if you read one of those reports and you're like, that should be celebrated, that's awesome. That's what we don't want you to miss out. So if you have a question, please do that, follow the process with that. But don't feel like you can't like shout out if you need to in your board report, so.
Okay, so then we will move on to school board reports and committee reports. Budget finance, we're all on that. That's a continuous project. Calendar did not meet. City school has not met. I don't know if we have a date set. We do have a date set?
We do, actually, it's on my calendar this week to work on the agenda, so I believe it will be in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, sounds good. So communications, Sandy and Lauren are on that, and they gave a recap of that, so I don't think there's anything else on communications. Community ed rec, Lauren or Sarah, did you guys meet? Nope. Okay. Curriculum and technology has not met. We're meeting in October 4th, I believe it is. And so we always, yes, October 4th at 5 o'clock in this room. So we always are encouraging new members to join, from people from the community to join the Curriculum and Technology Committee. We welcome them there. Facilities has not met, but we have a meeting coming up. So we'll report on that at our October meeting.
Hey Deb, can I ask a question?
Yes,
About if you want to join the curriculum committee, like if you have a community member, how do they go about doing that?
they should just notify Dr. Yonlin.
Okay, so we just send her a message
Sure,
saying.
or
okay.
Superintendent Evenson.
Okay.
And I
Absolutely.
can get it to her too.
Yep.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm. Absolutely. Meet and confer, we have our dates set for the year, but we haven't met yet, so that will be coming up. Negotiations, we had our, well, it was actually our third negotiation meeting last week. The first meeting we had last spring was just a get to know each other type thing, and then we've had two meetings. The first meeting, the union presented their request to us, and at our last meeting, we gave our counter proposal. Negotiations are going very, 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 very well. It's been very cordial and very, very responsive. So I really feel like we're probably 1 or 2 meetings and we'll probably have a contract. So it's been very, very good. Anything else you want to add on that?
So we did schedule our next meeting, so early
Mhm.
October 6th.
Yep. Okay, policy has not met. APAC, Sandy?
I was there for part of it. Unfortunately, because it's during the day, it's hard for me now with my job increasing. But we met to review in Chad's report, he detailed it very well, that we went over the budget. We went over what happened on the 16th. So on the 16th, there was a day, I believe, where kids they learned drumming. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. And then at the end, there was a family dinner. And it was really to encourage people to participate in APAC because the numbers are very, very low. And so we would really love to see more people participate who are parents in that group. So, and then we just need to complete the required aid application, and that's due November 30th. So, and then the next meeting is next week. Who is the alternate for that?
Me.
I don't know. I think is it in person, Chad?
We're trying in person.
Okay, because I have a meeting that's like a half an hour into that meeting, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not. So
What day is that?
it is September 23rd, I want to say. No, that's not right. Yeah, that's right.
What time?
It's at 12:30, and I have a required 1 o'clock meeting for work that's virtual. So.
Okay. I'll talk to you about that after.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, any questions on APAC? Okay, Booster Club. Sarah?
Yeah, a lot of the discussion was in August. A lot of it was prep for open houses, trying to get volunteers for the open houses, and then discussion of the events that were coming up with football kickoff, the football golf tournament that was in August. So a lot of discussion around that. I do know that the senior banners, they're working on those, so those should be coming soon. I know all the senior parents are excited for that. And then I will not be at this Wednesday, so Lauren will be going on my behalf.
Okay, great. Any
I know
questions?
they're also working on the fall media guide that probably
Yes.
will be out shortly too.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Education Foundation, Molly and Connie, I'll turn it over to you two.
We
I
talked
was
about-
there, actually, I was at this
Talked
one.
about popcorn.
Yes. So they were going to sell popcorn down at the car cruise, but they couldn't find a machine in time to be able to do that, to have a face down there. They did attend all the open houses and had a booth at each open house, which was nice to get out there. And then Friday, they are doing Pass the Hat at the football game is what they're going to do for the Give Life Gift Night. So,
Okay. Great.
yeah.
Connie?
That's everything. They're also looking for new people, more people to serve on the board. I think 3 people retired, so they're looking for more people. And just on a note for career readiness and whatever, the GIV scholarships are for people that are not college, four-year college-bound people. They're for plumbers, electricians, Jiv believed on
Trades.
giving money to help somebody that was a tradesperson. So that's something that he really, really believed in. So they're looking for more people, and that's the third Tuesday of every month that they meet, and they're looking at starting meeting in person because we've been virtual this whole time. So that's
And
coming.
I just want to say they are on fire. They have a really good, strong group going, and I want to publicly thank Mike Borloos for being the chair of that committee since it was founded, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. So I thank him for his years of service on that. And Tina Medic took over
And
as chair.
Also, they are willing to take donations anytime. So I find Give Like Jiv is an opportunity anytime that you would want to give a memorial. That's a good opportunity to give a memorial in honor of one of your loved ones, giving it back to the school, knowing that that money will help in classrooms and help students in the future. So that's how Jiv was, and that's how he wants his legacy to be continued. So I think that that's important for the community to know.
Great, thank you. Any questions about the foundation? Great. Legislative update. Boy, there's lots of changes going on at the state level. The Senate Majority Leader, Paul Gazelka, has stepped down. He announced his run for governor. Dr. Jensen is running for governor, as is somebody else. Michelle Benson is also running on the GOP side for governor. So there's a lot of shakeup right now. And the DFL Majority Leader stepped down. So there's kind of lots of shakeup at the state legislative level. And they will be gearing up. This year will be a policy year. Last year was the budget year where they did the biannual 2-year budget where they focused more on money. And this year, so this is the year we really have to pay attention so that they don't put in a lot of mandates and things into education, because we don't want that. So we'll have to stay on top of that. And on that note, Lauren and Sandy and myself were on Delegate Assembly for School Boards Association. So right now we will be having our fall advocacy tour where they'll be talking about legislative things coming up, and then our Pre-Delegate Assembly will be in November, where we'll be working on the resolutions of what our platform will be, and then the actual Delegate Assembly is held in December.
Isn't it usually the first weekend in December?
First weekend in
is.
December,
Yep.
Friday night and Saturday. It's always the same day as Jordan Dazzle.
It is every year.
So that's pretty much it legislatively. MSHSL, the biggest thing there is that they are just majorly having a difficulty in getting refs, and it's causing scheduling nightmares across the whole state for games. So I know that sometimes parents get upset because a game is scheduled, for instance, on Hymetfest out of town, and it all ties into getting the ref thing. It's just really a challenge right now. Other than that, I can't really think of anything too much on the MSHSL front, so I'll leave it at that. Scale?
Yep, Scale met on Friday morning. We had an update on the recently opened family resource centers. They are the one-stop shops for different connections to services and resources that, and information and support for people within our communities, Prior Lakes community and Shakopee community. We also had a conversation with Joe Faust and the Center for Entrepreneurs. That was fascinating. This is something that our local city governments, I think, really appreciated as well. For some of those upstart businesses that people might be starting in their homes and that, it's a good resource for people in our community to reach out and have just that access to people that they can have for mentorship as they are progressing with their individual businesses. So that was really fascinating. And they had people that actually have started some small businesses in our area that were there to also share their story on what that looked like. And they are looking for somebody in the community, a business owner, somebody to join their board. They're looking to expand and diversify their board as well. And then the city of Belle Plaine was the host that did the update, and they talked about good things happening in their city. It was a good meeting.
So the entrepreneurship, actually, they're renting space in the Dean Lakes building.
Yes, they
in
are.
The Southwest Metro building. So anybody that's going on that tour will see that
Yep.
on next Tuesday night.
Who's all going on that tour?
South Central Service Cooperative, I don't think they met, did they? Metro XU. Special Ed Advisory, Connie, didn't meet. Southwest Metro Intermediate, we did meet. We actually completed negotiations there. We voted, the board voted approval of the contract pending approval of the teachers union at Southwest Metro. So that was a good thing. Very good contract. So we're very happy about that. The new online program that our school is, and all the schools are involved in or invited to participate in, is kicked off and going. Seems to be well.
Yeah,
going well.
they actually have a pretty good sized membership. I think there are just under 40 students from Jordan Public Schools that have opted to be a part of, they're calling it C, it's the Southwest Metro E-Enterprise, I think e-learning enterprise. I think they have over 250 students total from 16 districts. So their biggest challenge right now, they're covered with elementary staffing, but they're looking for more staff to cover some of those high school classes. So we just received an email today, even from Southwest Metro, just to see if we have any staff time they could buy up. All the superintendents received that. So they're off and running.
And the nice thing about that program is that the kids are still Jordan kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's marketed as being through Jordan. So we still get the state funding. Of course we have to pay Southwest Metro for the time used, but they'll be able to graduate from here or continue from here. So it's a good deal.
I was just gonna point out that C, like when we have that in the reports, it
It's
gets a little confusing because we have that advocacy organization that is named C as
Correct.
well. So I was like, when I kept reading that, I'm like, what are they talking about? But now I know. So thank you for
Yeah.
explaining that.
Sorry about that. I promise
Yeah.
I didn't name it.
No, I know. It's just it's
Yeah.
confusing.
Yep.
The Dean Lakes building is going well. It's still under construction, and they have a good part of the building is leased out. Like I shared, the CDA and entrepreneurship is being run out of that program. One of the neat things, the CTE program is that they expanded their medical assisting program. They also added or are adding outdoor power equipment and small engines classes. They're offering a drones class, and they're offering an audio-video recording class. So, and then we had a discussion about the sale of the Valley Green property, is where the headquarters used to be for Southwest Metro. I'm not sure the status of that. Are you? Did that?
The last I heard, they felt very good about an offer that they had received, but I don't know if that's progressed.
Okay. So, any questions about Southwest Metro? Okay. So with that, we'll go on to regular board reports. So, Molly, you want to start us off?
I don't have any information.
Okay. Sarah? Good. You're good. Lauren?
I just want to compliment the district on how well open house went. I was volunteering for Booster Club, and it was so, I just love going into the building. So I was at the middle school and at the high school for a bit, and there was a lot of excitement, a lot of smiles, a lot of good food, and food trucks. So kudos to you guys. It was very nicely done.
Connie?
I just want to say that all the details for Hall of Fame are coming together, and it's going to be so exciting, and it's going to be a huge celebration, so make sure everybody watches social media for that. And I also want to say how proud I am. I follow some of our very first Summit Academy kids in the education program, and our kids now are becoming student teachers. And it's so fun to watch kids that thought they wanted to be teachers with Jordan High School, and they work through that process, And now they're going to really be teachers and have classrooms of their own. And it's an honor and it's excitement to see that them and their families, what's happening. So I'm very proud of them.
Thanks, Connie. Sandy?
A couple of things. One, I did find when pre-delegate assembly is, it's virtual, and so it's the 16th, 17th, 18th. Those are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8:30, and then Saturday from 9 to 10:30. You can choose one of those. So just know that, Lauren. So, and 18th. The 20th, and the Saturday one is from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. The others are from 7 to 8:30. No, just one. You just pick one. Yeah. Yeah, they give you the option, so.
And they're doing those all virtually, but delegate assembly so far is still on board to be in person.
Are they gonna mail or manual?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Are we submitting a resolution, or we?
We'll talk about that.
Nope.
We'll have to think about that.
Okay.
If you have any suggestions
Yeah.
for a resolution about something you want to see
Right.
on the platform,
Right.
bring it forward.
Okay. Then I also want to just speak again, like I did last time, and just remind everyone that we are here to represent all children, regardless of their orientation or gender identity, and regardless of their color. We are here to represent all of them, and we are here to teach and educate all of them. And I want to close by, Deb asked me to, and I'm hoping I can get through this. As many of you might know, a middle school special education teacher recently died of a long, long fight with cancer, and we donated. We have a Sunshine Fund that we donate to on this, and we donated to Feed My Starving Children in honor of Lori Schmidt, and I just want to read the thank you note. Dear Ms. Evenson and school board staff, we thank you for your support of one of Lori's favorite initiatives, Feed My Starving Children. Lori believes strongly that it's important to help those in need, especially children. Thank you for donating in honor of Lori. Love the Schmidt family. And Lori was a personal friend. I was fortunate, we were fortunate, our family was fortunate to be able to go to her 50th birthday at Feed My Starving Children. She always was about giving back. So rest in peace, Lori, and we miss you.
Thanks, Sandy. Let's see. Just a reminder that if you haven't contributed to the Sunshine Fund, that would be helpful to do that. It's the whole administrative team and the board, chips in the money to pay for, because that can't not come out of school funds. Anytime we make a donation for a funeral or something for a staff member. I want to personally thank our administrative team and our whole school district staff for the smooth start to the school year. I know it's been a challenge coming off of, a year and a half of utter chaos. Well, that was not good terminology because it is what it is. It wasn't really utter chaos, but in our lives, in probably our families' lives, it was. I mean, the school district did a great job of getting us through the COVID time, but I know it's a challenge now being back in school, and so I just want to give a shout out to the administrative staff and to the whole staff of the district, and thank them for hanging in there and giving it their all. I know they're doing their best and doing a great job, and that they're here for our kids. Just a reminder, we will not have a second meeting in September unless something comes up that we have to meet. MSBA, we talked about that. Oh, and then so far this is what I have for the Southwest Metro tour at Dean Lakes. I have Lauren, Sarah, and Connie, and myself, possibly Sandy. No,
Not for that one, maybe
not
the
for that
24th.
one. Okay. And then, so it's 5 o'clock at Dean Lakes. It'll be an hour tour. And then on the 24th for the bus tour to tour the Southwest Metro properties, I have Lauren and Renee and myself. And we have to be at the 401 building, I think, at 8 in the morning.
Is
So-
that one also going to do Dean Lakes? Or is that?
No, that one
Oh.
won't do Dean Lakes. I don't think it will.
I thought it said it did.
Well, just a minute, let me look.
'Cause
Oh,
that's
yes,
where I
it
thought-
is. Yes, it is on there.
Okay.
It
Okay,
is.
because I want to see it, so I was thinking, well, I'll do one
Yeah.
or the other.
I
Yeah,
kinda
it's doing
feel-
Dean Lakes, 401 building, East Creek, the Family Center for New Beginnings, River Valley Ed Center, right over here.
Yep.
And we're going all the way up to St. Bonnie, which I've never been at, so.
So the
their
difference
center.
between the two, the bus tour on that Friday is everything, and the one on the Tuesday night is Dean Lakes.
It's just Dean Lakes.
Yes, okay.
Okay? So if anybody changes their mind and wants to do that, let me know. I'll turn in your RSVPs. Okay, anything else? Anything else,
Is it on me?
Superintendent?
Nope.
Okay.
Is it on
Wait,
me?
It's on you.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, discussion, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?